All right, welcome. We're going to get started with using Webex. So the first thing we're going to want to do is log in, and there are two ways you can do that. The first is to go to support.newpaltz.edu. That's our ITS homepage for all your needs. You can scroll down on the lower left-hand side. There is a link to get to Webex here, or you can go to newpaltz.webex.com and you'll sign in with your New Paltz credentials. It'll bring us to our homepage where we can see any meetings that we've scheduled or any ones that we're invited to. So we'll schedule a meeting. Right, so we can pick a topic, and this could be if it's for a class or a department meeting or office hours. Meeting, password. You can set it to be anything you like if you want to make it something easier. So if we called it like New Paltz Hawks, but this password will be embedded into the join link that your attendees will receive in their invitation email. The date and time, right? So let's say if we're setting up a class, it's going to be Mondays and Thursdays. We could start on the first day here, right? Let's say we'll do 2 p.m. We want to make sure that we're aware of the AM PM. This way, people have the right times to join, right? So we say done, right? And we're really just scheduling the first meeting if we're going to set up recurrence. Right. Recurrence will give you options for a lot of patterns: daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. So for something like a class or for office hours or even just your departmental meeting, if it's happening the same day every week, we can set to like Monday, Thursday, and then however long you want. We can do ending, maybe the end of the semester. Right? So now we can add in people manually if we wanted. So if say we want to do IMS at newpaltz.edu, we know it works when we get it into, when they turn into the little box down here. That won't account for spelling though, so make sure that you spell emails correctly if you're going to be typing them in manually. Now, let's say you had a whole bunch of people that you wanted to add without having to do them one by one. As long as they're in a list, and as long as they're separated by a semicolon or a comma, you can copy and paste, hit enter. You'll see they all populate down here. Okay? Just a quick way to get a lot of people in one quick step. All right. Now, this is the basic part of setting up a meeting, right? You have your title, your password, your date, if it's recurring at all, and your attendees. If this is something that you are going to be doing often, you could save this as a template, and it would save all the people, the recurrence, or the how long it is, the name. All you'd have to do is just reset the date on it. So we have some more options down here if we wanted to get into this. Your audio connection options. I always recommend using Webex audio because that will allow people to call in on a computer. You can set an agenda. Today we'll talk about lots of things, right? And this information will appear in the meeting information that we can look at later, and it'll also show up in the meeting as well. We have scheduling options. If you wanted to set an alternate host, like let's say you're worried that you might not be able to make it to start your Webex meeting, you have this option here, which this will let anybody else with a New Paltz account start your meeting. So if you're having your staff meeting, anybody who is invited to that staff meeting could start this Webex meeting if they wanted to. If you wanted a more specific way to do this, if you look here, instructional media services, there's this little icon of a little person. You can make this one specific person an alternate host. Notice that since all of these, even though they're New Paltz addresses, but they're not real people, you could not make people outside of the New Paltz institution an alternate host. It would have to be somebody with an account. You can start recording automatically. You can set up registration if you like, meeting options. So these are going to be some features that you can have in your Webex meeting that you can turn on or off if you like. So like here we have chat. I always recommend having chat enabled because then this will allow you to communicate with somebody should they have audio like technical glitches. You know, if their microphone stops working or they don't have speakers connected or anything like that. That'll allow you to still talk to that person. We can set some attendee privileges. So here you can set the attendee privilege to view the participant list. This would mean that attendees in your meeting can see who else is in the meeting, but by deselecting, they would only see themselves and the host. Even though there could be 20 other people in the meeting, they wouldn't see them. Participate in a private chat. You definitely want to make sure that you have host and or presenter selected so that this way they can communicate with you in case there's any issues or if they have any questions. Allowing them to chat with other participants means that they can be writing stuff back and forth to each other and you wouldn't know about it. If you wanted to restrict that, you can just deselect that box right there. Okay, so now that we have all of our settings set and all our information, and again, if we just wanted to make it easy on ourselves, we can just cover this here, right? So the title, password, date, time, if we're going to do any recurrence, which you don't even have to. If it's just going to be a single meeting, don't even worry about that. We have all our attendees. That's it. We can hit schedule. Right. So we can view our scheduled meetings over here. And then this is information that you can post elsewhere if you needed to, if you didn't want to invite everyone through here. Like let's say you were going to create this meeting and post the information in Blackboard. You could post a meeting link, post a meeting number, you can post a password. But just remember that this host key here is privately yours. If you give this number out to other people, they'll be able to start your meeting. So make sure you keep that private. So if we go to our meetings, okay, you know, here we have ones that are scheduled, ones that we have scheduled ourselves, and ones that we may be invited to. So if I start this one here, all right, it's going to bring up a dialog box where we're going to be able to preview our camera. So when I turn the video on, there I am. Hi everybody. I can turn the video off if I like. I have the option to mute my own microphone too. All right, so I'm going to start the meeting. Okay. All right. So just to kind of give the lay of the land, with Webex, right? There's this button here, it's the info button, right? This will give you some information. So if somebody were going to call in from a video conferencing system, they could use this address right here, right? If they were going to call in with just a phone, they could use this number here, all right? This is a great option for folks who may not have a computer or may not have an internet connection. They can still participate in the meeting, but it'll be audio only. They won't be able to see you. They won't be able to see any content you may share. But it's a good last resort for folks who need to get in. All right. All right. There's all our information. Now, going across the icons on the bottom, these will appear when you hover your mic over. So again, this is the mute button for your own microphone. You can toggle on your camera, right? And we'll get a little preview over here. Okay. I'm going to skip over these two icons for a moment. Here we have our participants window. All right. Now, in this window, we're going to get to see anybody who may be joining our meeting. So now you as a host, you'll see your name up top, and it says host, me. Right? You'll see a little icon here. This camera, it means that the user is sending video, right? Because we can see I have my camera on down here, and I have the option to mute my microphone. If you look at our attendee here, there is no camera icon because this person is not sending any camera. That's why we have our HH here. Okay. Now, as the host, you do have the ability to mute other people's microphones. This is good if sometimes they may have background noise and they don't necessarily realize it. You can mute them. Now, let's say you have a whole lot of people and you're not quite sure where the background noise is coming from. If you come up to participants here, we can mute all and then unmute all. You can also set up your meeting to mute on entry. This means that any attendees joining would automatically get muted from the get-go. All right. Another option in the participant window is anyone can share, right? So when we get into sharing content, this will allow any of the participants to show their content into your meeting. This is great if you're teaching a class and everybody's going to be doing presentations that day. They can bring up their PowerPoints, their Google Slides, Word documents, anything, and show it to the whole group. If you wanted to have a little control over what is being shared, you can deselect this and prevent any participants from sharing content except for yourself as the host. All right. Our next little icon over here is the chat icon. Okay. You'll see we can send a message to everyone or specifically one person. This is great if you need to just send a quick message to somebody without the whole group seeing. And as before, when we were selecting the attendee privileges, when we were scheduling the meeting, where you could allow people to send a message to the whole group or just the host, they would have this same option too, where they could see everyone or the host or just the individual attendees listed. Right. So our next icon here is more options. Right. If we wanted to maybe take some notes on today's meeting, right? Today we talked about or follow up about ... And this is information that we can save later when we end our meeting. We can also create a poll. We can. What's your favorite ice cream? And then we can create answers. And it can be single answer, multiple answers, short answer. And this is also information that we can save later on. You can lock the meeting. So this might be good for something like office hours, where you open up your room. Maybe your office hours are from 2 to 4, and you only want one student in at a time. Once that first student is in there, you can lock your meeting and nobody else will be able to join. They'll just get a message that says the meeting is locked. Once you unlock it, people can then join. And then you just kind of repeat that process. Right? Invite and remind. This is a great feature for if you are starting your meeting and you notice that some people have not joined yet. They will show up in the list and you can just simply hit remind. The system will shoot out an email to them just telling them that they are missing a Webex meeting right now. You can also copy your meeting link here, check your audio connections. So now let's jump back to this button here. This is going to be the record button. Right? You'll have the option to record in the cloud, which would be saved in your Webex account, or you can select record on my computer, in which case the recording of this whole Webex meeting would be saved directly to your computer. Right? So if we wanted to go back to newpaltz.webex.com real quick, in this left menu here, this is where you'll be able to access your cloud recordings. Right. So we could play the video from there if we wanted. We also have the option to download it to our computer or share it. You can put in somebody's email address, a message, and you can password protect it if you like. All right. So now if we're going to get into sharing content into the meeting, we'll do this icon here. Right. So you're going to have two options really for how you share content. The first one will be the whole screen. Right. So if I click screen, now everybody in the meeting can see exactly what we see here. Right? They can see all my windows, they can see my background. So this is a great option if you plan on bouncing around between a lot of different programs. Alternatively, you could share just PowerPoint. Right? Now, even though we can see the whole screen here, the people in the meeting would only be able to see PowerPoint. So if I minimize this window, they're not going to see all this stuff behind. They're just going to see a gray, dark space where PowerPoint once was. And once we're in PowerPoint, you can use it like normal, and everybody will see what you're doing in real time. Okay. If we wanted to show some content that maybe included video, right? One thing we want to do is we want to make sure that this box here, by default it's selected for optimized for text and images, for something like PowerPoint, or we could select for optimized for motion and video. And you want to make sure that you share your computer audio. And then from here, you could share Google Chrome, right? And then play a YouTube video. And everybody in your meeting would be able to see this video and hear this video. Right? Or if you have a file on your computer that you, like a video file that you want to show, or if you're going to be showing a DVD, maybe you borrowed a DVD from the library to show your class, you could select VLC, right? Or whatever program you're using. And the same thing, like they would see just VLC, they wouldn't see any of this outside stuff here, right? When you play, they'll see the video and they'll hear it. Now, any content that you plan on sharing, make sure that you have it open already, or else it won't appear in this list. From the student side of things, they're going to have limited options, because they might be a host, or students, or maybe other people in your meeting. But one thing that they can do, if you're going to kind of keep everybody muted here, they have the ability to raise their hand. Right? So we see here, this little hand icon popped up. So now we know that this person wants to say something real quick. And, you may say to them, okay, you can, open up your microphone. They could unmute their own microphone and then ask their question. Or you can tell them to write something in the chat. And things like that are really going to be up to you and how you want to run your meeting. But that's pretty much it. From there, we can hit the red X button, right? And this will let us end the meeting if we wanted to end it for everybody involved, or we could leave the meeting. And this is where you could leave the meeting and the other attendees or participants could continue chatting, doing their thing, and then the meeting would automatically close when the scheduled time was up. We can choose to save the meeting files, so the poll questions, the notes, all that can be downloaded for future reference. Right? But for now, we'll end our meeting. And that's it. Best of luck to all you users, and if you have any questions or need any help, please visit support.newpaltz.edu.